Welcome back to another video, and this is my collective makeup review for November. Welcome back, and today we're actually quite early, so we're doing my collective makeup review for the month of November. And with my review videos, I usually do a collective review video separately for eyeshadow palettes. Those can be found on my review playlist, and then all the other makeup products sort of fall into this kind of video. And today we are almost, I think, having a whole phase of products, except of course for the eyeshadows. So we have some base products, some lip products, some cheek products, and also some eye products that are not eyeshadows. And this is quite of an interesting video for me, because actually this was, for example, the last month or so. So this is makeup that I mostly tried during the month of October. I actually did try first time E.l.f. because E.l.f. became somewhere around October. E.l.f. became available in our country. We actually now have quite many places that sell E.l.f. So that's something that was quite interesting to be able to review for this video. And how should I say, regarding the E.l.f. products, we are kind of 50-50, that some of the finds have been pretty great and I'm pretty impressed, and some not so much. But we also do have other products. We have some products that I got from my trip to Dublin in Ireland, which was already in the beginning of the fall. And what else? Yeah, I think those were that's the majority of the products we're having here. But let's now get to the products themselves. And as I have always divided these into, we will first go to base products, then we will go to cheek products, then lips, and lastly I will show one eye product that we have for this video. Okay, so base products, and let's start. So I have one foundation and one concealer, and these are actually the first E.l.f. products. So from the base products that we are available on our E.l.f. stands, we actually do have almost the whole range. So we have their primers, setting sprays, and also foundations and concealers, and these are the two. And now, because I have noticed, I'm actually going to be refilming after this one another video which was supposed to be posted. So if you thought why was there one video last week, that was because I did discuss already in some video earlier that we have been having some focusing issues. So I'm trying to keep the product somewhere here, and if I bring them closer I will do this with my hand, so hopefully it will focus. So I'm hoping we're on focus now, because it's been a bit annoying to film, and as I said, I wasn't able to post the second video of previous week because of the focusing issues, so that is why we're trying to keep the products here. But anyway, back to the review. So from E.l.f. I bought two of their base products. This is a relatively new product, so this is the Soft Satin Glam Foundation, and let's discuss this first. I am currently wearing this foundation, and I've been now wearing this foundation almost a couple of weeks. I have the shade on, which one was this? 13 Fair Neutral, and this is a bit yellow leaning for me. We had a pretty decent shade range available in our stores, however it's not the whole shade range. You can get the in-between undertone shades online, and I think that if I would have liked this foundation, so spoiler alert, not being such a big fan of this one, but if I would have liked this one, I could have gotten another shade then from online retailers. But yeah, so unfortunately, why I'm not such a big fan of it, I don't think it looks bad on the camera, and I don't think it has looked bad generally, but just the fact that the longevity of this one isn't great. The finish, I really don't get the satin matte finish with this one. I think this is a matte foundation, but I have had the issues of getting this to spread even on my face. For example, I do notice that, for example, around my nose area, it's been quite difficult getting this to sort of stick around, and also to the chin area, and also a bit here where there's a bit rough patches. So this foundation altogether, I'm not a big fan of this one, and also I don't think the longevity of this one has been great. This is something that I have powdered, but the powder really, I felt that it hasn't actually helped with this one. So for me this is a miss, and I'm a bit questioning who is this foundation for, because I don't think a dry skin person won't also like this one, because this has a really habit of clinging or not spreading evenly to dry patches. But also for an oily skin, leaning skin, I do feel that this doesn't have the longevity. So yeah, this could be also that because I'm someone in my 30s, so I have a bit more, my skin isn't as young as it used to be, so I don't know if someone who has a very smooth skin who's in their 20s, could this be more suitable. Also something else, I do feel that I have to layer this quite a lot, so I feel that this tube, even I have had it a few weeks, it's already kind of feels a bit empty. So my concern is also the fact that I do have to layer this quite a lot to get a decent coverage. So this also, in terms of like how long this one tube will last, is also something that's not maybe so good. So once I run out of this one, I will be trying out another foundation, because unfortunately this wasn't a hit. A second e.l.f. product that hasn't been a hit, but this is something that I should have perhaps guessed considering what age I'm currently in. So I got the original e.l.f. Camo Concealer. First of all, this is a way too pale shade even for me. This is like almost someone who has almost like a purely white skin tone. Well, not white, but even lighter than I am, and I certainly know that there are people who are paler than I am, even though I'm quite on the pale side. So the shade I am currently wearing, where do they have the shade name of this one? Fair Beige. So I think first of all I would need a bit darker shade, but again with these ones they only had some shades available in store. The whole shade ranges were available online, but again, if I would have liked this a lot, I could have then gone online and ordered the correct shade. But I should have like directly known that this isn't for me, because first of all this is a very heavy, now I'm trying to show my hand and maybe it is focusing. So it is quite of this thick, heavy consistency. You do get, I'd say, the coverage with this one, so I don't feel that you have to layer this too much to get the like full coverage of it, but just that if you have any sort of fine lines, now I'm trying to get the tube cleaned up. So if you have any kind of fine lines under your eyes, this is an absolute no-go. Also, something I would not recommend putting a powder over this one, because I felt that with powder this looked like it even highlighted more the sort of imperfections and lines that I had under my eyes. But the kind of downside for this one is that because I can't powder this, this does crease quite a lot. So because it's one of these like heavier matte concealers, the creasing really, it also doesn't look that flattering. So yeah. This is a concealer just like with the foundation. I'm gonna use this up, but after having used this up, I'm not gonna rebuy this. I would be curious to try, because I do know that they have a hydrating version of this one that is it maybe a bit better, but unless you're like younger and you have a very oily skin, then I think you would enjoy this one. But anyone who has even big texture or fine lines under their eyes, I wouldn't recommend this one, because it is quite of an heavy-duty product, and it doesn't look great with powder, but it also doesn't kind of work without a powder, so that there's also that one. But yeah, with e.l.f. so far, the foundation and concealer based products not such a great hit, but I think I will, because I do know they have some other base products in their line, so I'm not completely like turned off yet, because later on we will go through some products that I've actually been liking from the stuff that I got. But with these base products, unfortunately, they were not such a success, at least on my personal use. So cheek products are next, and my, there is again a lot of things, and there's a lot of blush, so no surprises there. That seems to be a theme of this year's videos. Let's maybe go first the sort of non-blush. Well, one of these is actually a face palette, but let's first go to like the purely like products that had something else than blush. So from my trip to Dublin, I did get some Rare Beauty products, which was a good thing, because Rare Beauty is one of those brands that's quite difficult for me to get, and it's a difficult brand to get if you, for example, don't have a Sephora in your country. In Ireland, they didn't have a Sephora in Dublin, but Space NK, which is I believe a UK-based makeup retailer or a department store chain, they also had a small store in Dublin in their sort of main shopping street, and they actually did have a full-on Rare Beauty stand. So I actually made good of the opportunity and got some Rare Beauty. So something that was definitely a hit, I did get one of the Rare Beauty highlighters. So this is in the shade Mesmerize, and this is how we're looking. And now I'm gonna again do the trick where I'm gonna bring it close to the camera, and hopefully the camera is focusing on the. So very beautiful. I was a bit skeptic that was this like maybe a bit too dark, but actually I did feel that this was a very, very smooth, very beautiful highlighter shade to wear. It is more on the blinding side, so definitely if you don't like your blinding highlighters, I don't think you will enjoy the Rare Beauty formula, but for me this was definitely a hit, and it kind of made me think that in the future, when if I'm traveling to a place that I can get Rare Beauty easily, I will try more of their cheek products. So this was a hit, very smooth highlighter, but if you don't like super blinding highlighters, then stay away from this one. Then let's go to, was that the, yeah, then let's go to the sort of Ireland exclusive brand, or well, this is not Ireland exclusive, but this is a makeup brand which I believe is found by a Irish makeup artist. So I did buy Sculpted by Aimee, one of the face palettes, and this seems to be a very popular Irish brand based on the fact that how widely this was sold in different locations. And I got the face palette in the Love Story. Was this the wedding, Love Story, the wedding palette was the name of the face palette, and now I'm trying to get this one open. So they had quite a lot of these face palettes. These sold around 39 euros, I think was the price of these ones, and spoiler alert, all of these were quite neutral leaning colors. I will pop a picture at some point. You will see the kind of eyeshadow look that you were able to get this with this one. But I didn't put this in my eyeshadow palette review video purely because the eyeshadows in this one, unfortunately, I don't think they're that good quality. The mattes are pretty decent, but especially the shimmers in this one, they are, even for satin shimmers, they are pretty dry. I had the issue that is, this middle one over here was, for example, something that almost when you tried to get some products out of this one, it's sort of like almost like the eyeshadow came cracking if you tried to pick it up with a brush or with a finger, and it just felt very dry. So the eyeshadows in this one, like with the mattes, you can create a decent look, but unfortunately the shimmers weren't like the winners and they actually felt pretty dry. What I did like about this one are the three face products in this one. So the blush, the highlighter, and the bronzer. And I'm trying to, again, so you can maybe see. And the face products, aside from the bronzer, the highlighter and blush are actually this sort of very nice, almost like a gel cream-like formula. They are very easy to work with. I especially love the sort of gel feeling highlighter, because with some cream highlighters I have an issue that they sort of lift my makeup underneath. But this highlighter actually, it didn't like move the makeup that I had underneath it, and it actually was very flattering considering that I'm already someone who has big texture on their sort of cheekbones. Similarly, the blush blended really beautifully, and also the bronzer blended very beautifully. So that is the reason why I categorized this in the sort of face palette or sort of cheek product section. You're gonna now see the photo here on the side. You can kind of see, so the eye look with this one, as you can see, you're not gonna get anything extraordinary. But I do think that for travel purposes, I have one work trip abroad coming in the beginning of December. I think this, because it's only a one-night trip, I think I'm still gonna pack this one, because you can see the eye look, it's still pretty decent, and I do think the mattes worked pretty well. So with this one, I think for these one-night, two-night trips that you don't need anything super fancy and you just want something that has all the products, I do think this is a good face palette, and I do think the cheek products of this one are high quality. It's just unfortunate that the eye products, they are workable, but I have had, like, how should I say, for 39 euros I have had like better eyeshadow for quite a lot of brands. But the cheek products in this one, if you're more of a cheek product fan, those I would recommend, for at least based on this particular palette. Okay, and then we're gonna have the three blushes, and again we'll be very blush heavy. So the second Rare Beauty product that was a hit, I got a mini of their sort of liquid cheek products. So and luckily it was quite good that they had these in minis, because gosh, when we're gonna be doing my end of the year declutter, my blush drawers are again like being quite full, because again there's been a lot of blush. And this was in the shade, I believe, Encourage. So this was the mauvish shade, and now I'm gonna actually swatch this in the back of my palm so you can kind of get the... So this is the kind of shade we are working with. It's a nice mauvish shade, and I do have to say I'm a big fan of this blush formula. This is just the kind of formula that it dries down to a matte finish, but it is very beautiful and very buildable in a nice way, that if you just want a one sheer layer, that's possible, but then if you want something more pigmented, this builds quite quickly. So I think this is going to be a formula that a lot of people would enjoy, and it's just very easy to use. And as I said, I always appreciate when brands offer minis, because considering that some of us do have this habit of collecting makeup, I would much prefer more brands that they have these in mini. And of course, if you're a person who uses one blush and then uses it completely, then you have the option to get the full size one. But Beautiful formula. If I would not be having so many blushes in my collection, this is definitely a formula that I would be tempted into getting more shades, but because I have so many other blush products also, I really don't need more shades in this one. But if you have been thinking about the Rare Beauty liquid blushes, this is a formula that I would recommend. Then the second product, so aside from the, no wait, that was an eyeshadow palette, so it's not in this one, it's in the eyeshadow palette review video. So you have already seen on my collective eyeshadow palette review, I had one of the NARS palettes, and aside from the NARS palettes that I got from Ireland, I also did get one of their blushes in the reformulated version, and this is in the shade Deep Throat. And again, we're gonna... So it is this more of a matte peachy shade, and I have been enjoying this a lot. This is a very, very beautiful... It's a bit more like a muted peachy, because I do know the Orgasm shade is something that it's a bit more shimmery, but I actually appreciate more of this kind of matte finish, and just altogether this is a very beautiful, very smooth formula. Again, this is one of those blush formulas that you can get a more sheer layer with, and then if you want to build it up, you have that option. However, I would have to say that this NARS formula, particularly this shade, I do feel that maybe with this one, if you have a medium to deeper skin tone, then I would maybe see that would I get maybe some of the deeper shades they have in this line, because I do feel that particularly with this shade, for my skin tone, I was able to get a very beautiful, nice color, but I do feel that with this one I did have to build it up a bit, and that made me question a bit that, okay, but if I would be someone who had a deeper skin tone, then maybe this wouldn't work out so well. So that's just something to consider, that maybe these lighter shades, they won't necessarily all build up being super punchy, but they luckily do, I think, have quite of a decent shade range, so there should be something that works for someone who has a bit more deeper skin tone than I have. And then lastly, a blush formula that certainly is very punchy, so if you're looking that kind of thing, and this is actually the blush I'm wearing currently. So this was one of the e.l.f. products that I did like from the haul. So this is the e.l.f. Camo Liquid Blushes, and this is in the shade, I think it's Dusty Rosé, yeah. So it's this one, and I'm not gonna swatch this because it's actually on my cheek currently. This is a great blush from the drugstore, but you really have to like your pigmented blushes. I was almost had a bit of an oopsie, because usually what I do with these, because this has one of those doe food applicators, as you can see. So I initially did with this one what I do with a lot of these doe food applicator blushes, that usually putting like 3 dots across my cheeks, that usually has been the kind of good amount that I will get the sort of like color payoff that I like. But with this one, the 3 dots was like too much. So if you have a very fair skin tone and you buy these shades, then maybe try with first 1 dot or maybe 2 smaller dots, and then see how pigmented it is, and then it's always easier to add more than actually like have lessen the blush effect later on, because then you have to do the whole thing, like maybe putting more foundation and powder over it. So this is a good formula, and even though this is very pigmented, it is still, I felt, easy to blend, and I do think the end result is very nice, and this is definitely one of the more like matte blushes compared to maybe some other liquid blush formulas. So if you don't like super like matte looking liquid blushes, then maybe skip this one. But just so you're aware, unlike for example the NARS blush that I showed before, this is more on the pigmented side. But of course this has quite a lot of shades in it, so if you have a fair to light skin tone, then maybe stick with these sort of more mid-tone and maybe lighter shades, because I do think that the deeper shades in this one, because if this is already quite pigmented, I am a bit scared that if I would buy some of the deeper liquid blush shades, then how punchy those would be. But still a good formula and something I would recommend from the drugstore. Just be aware that this is a very punchy blush. But yeah, those were actually all the liquid products we had, and let's now next move to the lip. I just realized that I actually said liquid, I meant shade products, and now let's go to the lip products. With lip products we had 2 hits and then 1 misses, and I'm actually gonna first show the miss one because I was a bit sad that this didn't work out for me. So from the last product that I got from the Rare Beauty sort of stand was this one, so I got one of their satin lipsticks, and this was in the shade Worthy, and I'm gonna show it. So this is, it is a mauvish shade, and I'm actually gonna swatch some of it in the back of my hand, so hopefully you are able to see that. And on the back of my hand this actually does look quite decent, like a more brown leaning mauve, but unfortunately on my lips this looks grey. So that's the already first thing. I do like my sort of cool tone leaning lips, but a grey lip is not something that I'm a huge fan of. Second is that this really felt that it really emphasized and sort of sank into the fine lines on my lips, and I don't feel that I have, how should I say, sure, my lips aren't as smooth as they were, for example, when I was in my 20s, but they aren't also like super wrinkly. So, and also the feeling, this kind of like after wearing it for a while, this started feeling like a bit waxy on the lips, and it just wasn't a, how should I say, it wasn't a nice feeling, and the shade also, how it transformed on my particular skin tone, it just didn't work out for me. So this is a product that I truly would have wished, because on store, how I swatched it and how it felt out, I was having high expectations for this formula, but just the end result of it, not a fan of it. I'm pretty bummed that you couldn't get these lipsticks in some kind of a mini format, because it's kind of like that I bought this from abroad from a trip, and I bought a full-size makeup product. Like, sure, Rare Beauty, it's not the most expensive of makeup brands, but still, so yeah, I'm kind of bummed, but I'm going to be decluttering this. This is actually going to be the only product that I'm going to be decluttering actually from this video without using it up, because just that I know that with so many good lip products that I prefer and I have in my collection, I know that I'm not going to use this one because I don't like how this starts feeling on my lips after a couple of hours, and because the shade isn't unfortunately flattering. And that's something that sometimes products can happen, because, and this just shows that, for example, hand swatches don't always tell, because on a hand, of course, the how it reacts to the skin tone on my hand is a bit different of how it can look on my lips in the end. And this is just something that I wasn't, like, I could not have known, because you can't, I wouldn't recommend swatching store testers on your lips, because there can be all sort of bacteria on those ones. So based on the hand swatch, I couldn't know that this was gonna turn out grey on my lips. But yeah, but it's just not the color. Also, for some reason, the formula, it's odd, because I don't think that I saw, when these came out, I do believe these lipsticks did get a decent review on YouTube, so it could be just that for me this formula didn't work out, but maybe for someone else. I think this is meant to be a satin lipstick. I do think that this was a bit drying for something that's advertised as a satin lipstick, but yeah, not a hit for me, and this is going to be out of my collection after I have been filming. Then the two hit from the lip products. So first is is this the only holiday product? Yeah, probably the last few videos of my makeup reviews at the end of the year are gonna be purely holiday products, but this is the first holiday product in this sort of makeup review videos for this year. So I did get the Swirl lip gloss from Fenty. So this is their holiday special edition gloss bomb that they have now done. This is the second Christmas, I believe, they have done this special edition lip gloss from. It's a nice shade. This goes quite of a berry shade on your lips. So, and I do feel that the Swirl, I'm gonna actually, maybe you can see it on the screen a bit better, but I do think that this was on my 2-week rotation a while ago, and I do think that Swirl is still quite well in the tube, because I was kind of thinking when I saw this in a store that, okay, that looks very beautiful on the package, but is the Swirl gonna disappear? So unless you really do this like mixing thing aggressively within the tube, the Swirl actually will be there for quite a while. I do think that once I will be more like somewhere when you get this like halfway through, then the Swirl is probably gonna be like mixed in, but so far at least it's still looking pretty nice in the tube. But aside from the aesthetic side of this one, it's the same good gloss bomb formula. If you like a more sort of a glossy berry shimmery shade on your lips, I do think you will enjoy this one, but it's not also anything super different from the other gloss bomb. But I do like this much more than, for example, the holiday special shade they had last year, and I do think that, for example, also aside from Christmas season, I do think in summertime this sort of glossy berry lip will look quite nice. So this is going to be sticking around, and I am quite happy that I did get this, even though I do have a huge amount of lip glosses, but I do like this sort of special edition gloss that they did. And so for the last lip product, so lipstick that I did have much more luck with, so this is one of the E.l.f, and now I'm going to try to see which was the Okay, the packaging doesn't have the name, you will see it because I always put in a description box full list of all the names of the products, but this is basically the sort of, I believe these are technically meant to be bullet matte lipsticks, and I got the shade, I believe this was also Rose something. Sorry, Pleased was the name of this one, and it's one of the beautiful pink shades, and I'm gonna actually do again so that I will swatch a... it looks kinda, I think, cool toned on the back of my hand, but actually on my lips this does pull a bit warmer, so this could be a skin undertone specific thing, so if you have a different skin undertone this could be more cooler on you, but this is the kind of thing that I'm looking in a bullet lipstick formula. It is on the more matte side, but it spreads on the lips very easily, the formula is smooth. This doesn't actually, what I was a bit thinking that because it's just such a bright shade that does it bleed out, but this actually really stays on your lips even though it is a more of a like a traditional bullet matte lipstick, and it doesn't feel like because it's a matte lipstick, if you do wear this through the whole day, at some point it's gonna start feeling a bit drying, but it's not like uncomfortable, and it's just very... I had such a good time using these lipsticks, and again, if I didn't have such a big lip collection, this is definitely a formula that I would be very happy to get more shades in, but if you're looking for a good bullet matte lipstick that isn't uncomfortable on your lips, that still has a pretty good lasting power for being a bullet matte lipstick, and you want it at a drugstore price, I would get one of these. This is truly an excellent formula, not just for drugstore, but I do think for lipstick products in general, so yeah. And the shade, the pinky shade, very sort of nice kind of shade that I like, and I do like this sort of soft matte packaging, and this has one of the magnetic closures, so it's not also the sort of cheapest of drugstore packaging that this is in. So from the lip products, I'd say altogether we had two winners, the Fenty lip gloss and the e.l.f. lipsticks, and then unfortunately the Rare Beauty lipstick didn't work out for me. And then lastly I will show one of the eye products that I have for this video. Well, we have only one eye product today, but as the eyeshadows I usually do those in a separate video, we usually don't have a lot of those, but for this one I do actually have a mascara. So from e.l.f, and this is the last of the e.l.f. products that I sort of got, so this is the e.l.f, and I believe this is the Lash Extender Mascara, and it has one of the sort of triangular plastic bristles, and I hope my camera is focusing. This is one of the mascaras that do have the bit more spikier plastic bristles, so if you have sensitive eyes this could sting. I'd say this is an okay formula, but not my favorite formula. So I do think that because the wand is quite thin, it is quite easy to get to the root of your lashes and does do a nice job in separating the lashes. But I think this is more for those people looking for maybe separation and length. This really doesn't. I feel that I had to build this quite a lot to get any kind of volume out of this one. I do think my lashes look pretty decent with this one, but it's not something that it's gonna make me go wow that I need to buy this like over and over again. So for me this is just an okay mascara. I think I will try they have the roller lash dupe. I think that's a mascara that I would be curious to still try from the brand, but this is something that I'm not going to be rebuying. But if you're looking for lengthening and separating mascara, this could be a good option to look at with the drugstore, but if you're looking more for volume, I don't think you will be liking this one. But yeah, that was the actually last product we had for this video. So I think overall we had a pretty decent sort of review. I do think like we had more winners than losers, because I think truly like, yeah, the Rare Beauty lipstick is something like, that's truly the only thing that's gonna get thrown out before I will use it up, but even the sort of e.l.f. concealer, foundation and the mascara, like they aren't so bad that I'm not gonna be like using them up, so even though I didn't like those a lot, I still will be using them up. And we had quite a lot of winners with the lip and cheek products with this one, but what was my favorite of the month? I'd say that maybe for favorites from the past month or so would be three of these. So the e.l.f. lipstick formula, this truly for a lipstick pretty exceptional. The NARS blush, again, I do think for a, well, this is a more high-end formula, so I would of course be pretty disappointed if this didn't work out, but truly a very beautiful matte blush formula on the high-end brand side. And I do also did like the Rare Beauty highlighter, because I do truly think that this was, at least for me, worth the hype that these highlighters got when they were launched. But comment down below, have you tried any of these products and what did you think about them, or tell what has been some of your favorite makeup products that you have been using lately. If you like this video, push the like button, subscribe to the channel and ring the bell button if you want to get notifications from my future content. You can also find me with the same nickname, Makeup Hedgehog, on Instagram. I hope I'll be seeing you again soon in the video. Bye bye!